Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm flying out the Bf-109 G-14, which sits at 5.3 in the German and Italian tech trees. The Italian G-14 is slightly different as it has a high altitude engine. So it's been a while since my last upload, but I recently graduated high school and I took the next several days off to relax. But from here on out, I have the entire summer and I should be making YouTube videos pretty frequently. In this video, I have 4 high kill games. One of them is an 8 kill carry with Circa C, which is the first game that I will be showing you. Also, I wanted to add that the G14 is one of the worst 109s for its BR, as it's basically a lighter G6 but at 0.7 BR higher, and it also gets constant up tiers, so it's better to fly the K4 at 5.7, which has more engine power, or the G6 at 4.7, which doesn't really have much performance difference. But as long as you fly the G14 properly, following all the 109 rules and not making any mistakes, it's still a good plane. So let's hop into the games. So this is the 8 kill match, and it is on Afghanistan, so we do spawn at a pretty high altitude, and the problem with that is the G14 as well as the G6 are kind of lower altitude 109s, so they don't perform that well above 6 kilometers. So the J2M is going to be above us, and I want him to kind of follow me so my teammate can come at him from behind because he is above him now, and we're going to be able to successfully 2v1 this J2M if he keeps his energy and tries to follow me. However, he sees my teammate and he dives away. And since there's not really anyone else at high altitude, I am going to kind of just dive down and see what targets I'm able to pick off, because there is a pretty large furball down below and my team is collapsing, and me and Circa C are basically going to be the only people left. And as you can see, all the blue names are gone, red names are abundant, but I do also want to keep an eye on that Hornet over there, because he is going to be very annoying if he gets above us, and since he just finished off the bomber, I want to take care of him, or at least go for him first. I'm checking his stats real quick just to make sure I know what I'm dealing with. Luckily, he doesn't seem to be that experienced, or he seems to be experienced, but not in ARB. And since he's not turning towards me yet, I feel like I can cut his flight path off. He starts diving, and I'm going to be able to get 1 or 2 shots before he dives away and gets out of range. I take a shot, and I get a pretty nasty snipe there. MG151s don't have the best velocity, but luckily they do a lot of damage, so I only need to hit him with 1 or 2 bullets there. And now I am free to kind of head back towards the furball. Luckily they're all lower than me. I want to keep an eye on the I-225, but since I see him turning away, I'm going to go for the 2 J2Ms that are below me. The problem is that Spitfire who just appears. Unfortunately, I didn't see him before I started diving, and he's going to be a real nuisance. I want to be careful. If it's an LF Mark 9, I'm probably screwed. If it's a Griffin, I have a bit of a chance. What I want to do is I want to get him tangled up in a short dogfight and then run away. So I go into the merge here, and I'm not really trying to dogfight him here. I want to get past this turn, so I dodge, and now I want to run away because he's going to lose a lot more speed in that turn than I am. As you can see, we're going about the same speed now, and at these altitudes I'm also slightly faster. I still want to keep dodging. The J2M's below me, and I'm telling Circa that he needs to go for the Spitfire now if he wants me to kill the A7M, because I'm going to pitch up for this guy, and if this guy doesn't die here, then we're probably going to lose the game. Luckily, Circa gets the Spitfire to break off, which gives me room to climb away, gain energy, and just kind of reset the fight. And he's also going to be faster than those 2 guys, so we're going to both end up surviving. And since I'm higher than these guys now, we can kind of do whatever we want. If he didn't get the Spitfire off my 6 there, then I'd be in a lot of trouble. Luckily the Spitfire does break off again, and they're going to get very close to killing him there. However, since I'm coming in, they're going to die. I kill the Spitfire, and I try and get both of them in one pass here. It was a bit risky to pull off of the Spitfire early like that, but in the end I didn't really get to kill the J2M, However, he keeps pitching up for my teammate, and that was a very poor move on him. And I take both of his wings off, I turn him into a torpedo, and I'm now going to go for the J2M. Luckily, our last remaining teammate or bomber takes out the Yak-3, and I think that was a VK-107, so that's a pretty big move. But now, all it is basically just cleanup. Spitfire's down low, he's going to RTB. J2M isn't really a big deal as long as I have more speed than him, because I can just kind of run away from him. It is a J2M too, so I do want to be careful. However, he does not seem like he really wants to fight. So yeah, all I'm doing is just kind of waiting for him to make a move, because I am eventually going to catch him. Here he starts turning. I predict his flight path, and I get a really nice shot. And now I am free to go strafe the Spitfire. And that is going to be 6. The J2M and the Spitfire go down at the same time. I'm looping back up now, and we are going to switch forward a bit. We now have the I-225 and the A-7M below us. And right now, I'm looking more at the A-7M because he is a more dangerous plane, and the I-225 doesn't really look like he has much engine power right now. So I'm thinking that the I-225 is going to go and land. I want to get past this merge with the A-7. Luckily, Circa gets him to break off of me. And if he committed to that head-on with me, I could have died there pretty easily. But I have enough energy after the merge to go up and do a loop over top of him. Circa runs away, but he is running low on fuel, so he's going to make one more pass in the A7 before he RTBs. There is an A6M5 as well somewhere. He is at low altitude though, so he's not going to be much of a problem. I want to just kind of push this A7 down so that my teammate can go for a pass on him now. And we're just going to kind of take turns on this guy until he is out of energy. He actually kind of goes for me here, so I want to be really careful, but he breaks off as soon as he sees me turning away from him, so this allows me to complete my turn back towards him. And you just want to be really careful with A7M2s. Any Japanese plane to this BR is pretty dangerous. Unfortunately, I only get a hit there. I pull under my teammate's guns, I exit away, and I now loop back over. A6M5 is behind me, but he's not going to be a very big deal. Unfortunately, the I-225 does end up crashing before the runway, so I'm not going to be able to get 9 this game. And the A7M2 here goes straight vertical. I don't really know why, but he kind of threw his game away, giving me an easy kill, giving me an easy shot. And now, the last guy left is the A6M5. And since I have an altitude advantage, there's not going to be much he's going to be doing, as long as I don't make a mistake. And yeah, it's just cleanup now. I lead. Unfortunately, my shots don't really do as much damage as I thought they would, but all I have to do is just extend away. Go up. And he's not going to have enough energy to pitch up for me here. And I just make a single pass on him, and that's game. There he goes. That is GG. So we now are moving on to a 7-kill game on, I think this is Sicily, but I am solo and my team is going to collapse, so I'm going to have to carry this game. So I start off above pretty much everyone. I side climbed a bit because Russia was on the enemy team, and I don't really want to deal with Yak-3Us. Yak-3Us and Yak-3VKs are pretty much the bane of the 109 G-14. They do everything better, I killed the Yak 3 there, he doesn't see me, and I now pitch up for the Yak 3U. But yeah, as I was saying, Yak 3s at this BR do pretty much everything better than you, and you want to be extremely careful when fighting them. I can't really get guns on this guy because he does turn better than me, and I'm going to keep following him here because he is going to get tangled up with everyone else. I get a shot. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do anything, and instead of following him down, I want to just kind of extend away, keep my energy, because there is a lot more people in the area, and a lot more dangerous people, as that Spitfire Elf Mark 9 is also very scary. However, you can actually deal with Spitfires in the G-14 pretty easily, as long as you just kind of stick to strict boom and zoom and shallow climbs. And just this segment of this game is just going to be me kind of switching targets and like keeping my altitude, because in order to carry this situation, I have to keep altitude over pretty much everyone. Right here, I'm able to go for the Yak 3U because he's stalling out for the dodo. Does a great job. He does a great job baiting. But yeah, a lot of this game is just kind of me climbing away from people, switching targets, and just trying not to make any mistakes by overcommitting. It is kind of a boring game in the first half. There is a lot of repetitive kind of segments of me just flying around, but it's definitely worth the watch because it kind of teaches you how to position yourself in between multiple enemies. I try and go for the Yak 3U here. I don't get the shot. I aim a bit too low, but now the Yak 9P turns in right as I'm going for him. It was a pretty good move by him, but I am just a bit faster. And he dives away realizing this. The dodo's coming in too, and that's going to help get people off my 6. So I'm going to use this time to zoom climb and secure altitude over everyone. Unfortunately, the dodo is going to die here, as his performance just isn't enough to get away from these yaks. And that is pretty much my only lifeline in this game, gone. And I'm now alone against, I think there's 5 enemies in the area, but only 3 of them are going to be a problem. And I'm going to speed the video up here, because this is the part of the video where I don't really go for anyone. It does get repetitive, but I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes, you know? Because if I overcommit and lose the altitude advantage, I die. Also, I am keeping the chat censored for the entirety of this match. There was a lot of like racism and stuff about like the Israel-Palestine conflict, which I don't really want to like be a part of on this channel. So yeah, the entire match, or this entire match, is going to be blurred out. But yeah, this is about the end of the time lapse. I am above the Yak 3U. The Yak 9 dove down to go for the bomber, and I'm left alone with this guy. And I want this guy out of the match right now because Yak 3Us are probably the most dangerous target. I can't really pull lead on him, but he does just turn right in front of me, giving me a pretty easy shot. And I'm able to send him back to the hangar. And I'm now wanting to go for the Yak 9, because I believe the Spitfire, as well as the Yak 3, RTB'd. That P-51 is on fire, which is another good thing for me, because this allows me to only have to deal with this guy for now. And I'm above him, so I can pretty much do whatever I want. I do have to be careful though, because it is the Yak 9. I'm going to wait to dive on him until I get behind him, because I want to make sure that he's not going to be able to kind of pitch up for me, get a shot. Anything that's like dangerous for me, I don't want happening. And this is, I am playing a lot of these games very strictly, because the 109 G14 is a 109 that you have to play strictly, because it is a bit over-tiered. 5.3 is pretty high for this thing. It's fine at 5.3, it's still a good plane, but you have to play it very strictly. He turns in front of me, and again, that's the second time somebody's turned in front of me. I think he complained later in chat about, he complained later in chat about me getting a shot there, but I didn't really have to respond. But yeah, he turned in front of me, so I skip forward here now, and there's a Yak 3 below me. That is a VK-107. I can see and I can tell by zooming in and looking at the blue coloration, and I want to be extremely careful, because VK-107s are again, pretty much UFOs. And I'm also looking for a Spitfire right now because there was a Spitfire that I was engaging earlier and he did RTB. So as I'm just kind of distancing myself from the VK, I want to keep looking around for the Spitfire. And as soon as I see the Spitfire, that's my go sign to kind of switch off look mode and kind of activate, I don't know, attack mode. It's a bit cringe, but it kind of gets the point across. As soon as I see the Spitfire, I'm able to switch my game plan up, and since he's below me, I have free roam on these guys. And I want to keep this fight as high as I can with the Spitfire, because the LF Mark 9 gets worse as altitude increases. This is another long match, by the way, sorry. But it is a carry game, and it kind of shows you how to handle multiple versus one situations in a plane that like has the capability to. So I go up here out of a dive, and then I'm energy trapping this guy right now, and he kind of full sends it for me, which wasn't the best plan. And this allows me to loop back over, and instead of diving away, he flat turns, and he kind of keeps his, he doesn't really keep his speed, gives me an easy shot. And I'm now going to be able to go for the F8F that just appears. But if you hadn't seen the Act 3, you're going to see him in a second. Look how much altitude he gained in the minutes that I didn't see him. Pretty crazy, huh? The Act 3 VK-107s are absolute UFOs. And right here, instead of going for the F8F, I probably should have turned towards the Act 3 to kind of full send a head-on, because I can't beat him in a dogfight. And he's actually faster than me at this altitude. So my best chance was to turn around right now and head on him, but I didn't. I have low fuel, so I kind of wanted to RTB, which is why I decided to kind of run from him. And this was the mistake that cost me the game. So skipping forward here, you can see how fast the Act 3 caught me. I want to just kind of full send it into this dogfight, pray for a reversal. Kind of setting up for it, but he also does turn better than me. I want to try and keep it in these tight scissor fights, because I know that's where the 109 can at least have a chance of reversing the Act 3. But unfortunately, the F8F is also here, and I just want to full send it in the head-on. Luckily, I get a fire, and that was my only chance of winning the dogfight there. That was a very risky move. Unfortunately, he puts out the fire, and at this point, I'm screwed. I only have 40 seconds of fuel, and I have 2 enemies behind me. And at this point, yeah, there's nothing I can do. I'm going to try and full send it again into a turn. Unfortunately, the Act 3 doesn't really follow, and that leaves me with the F8F as well. And I want to be very wary of that guy still, because he has 420 mils. He does run out of fuel here, though, so I go up instead. And the F8F, unfortunately I don't get the shot there, which that was really important there. But the F8F's out of fuel, I can go up. But now I'm out of fuel. The P-47's pitching up for me, and at this point I'm thinking, if I'm going down, I'm taking at least one of you guys with me. So the P-47 goes down, the F8F will eventually go down, and now all I have left is the Act 3. And yeah. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to kill that Yak 3. I was pretty salty about that, that whole match, because it would have been a really nice game to carry and win, but I ran out of fuel, and that's pretty much what caused my death. But we're moving on to the next game. This is a 7-kill game, again with Circa C, and the first kill was that B-17. Pretty easy shot. He wasn't really paying attention, and I shoot a bunch of 20 mils right into his cockpit. So now I am going to focus on the enemies that are lower than me, and first I'm going to go for the P-47, but I also want to keep an eye on that P-59, because if he presents himself, then I want to immediately go for him, because he is a very dangerous plane. The P-47 is going to start to dive away here, so I'm going to switch for the P-59. He appears right in my gun sight. I take him out, and I almost ran my teammate in the process. Luckily, I didn't, so now I can switch back over to the P-47. My teammate gets a shot in, and since the P-47 is dogfighting him, he's not going to see me. And a lot of your kills in the 109 G-14s are going to be about positioning, because catching people off guard with boom and zoom is a very good way of killing people. I now go over to the LA-9, and I also want to keep an eye on that P-51 who is above me. However, he's going to be kind of tangled up with other enemies. My teammate whiffs a bit, but the LA-9 pitches up. I take both of his wings off, turn him into a torpedo, and I'm now going to go for the P-51. And since he does a split S, I'm going to be able to cut him off. And he is occupied here. I want to dodge the F-82 before I go for the P-51. Easy dodge though. F-82s aren't very good. I get a deflection shot, take out the P-51. The LA-9 also goes down in the background, and I'm now going to make my way over to the airfield where there's 3 people landing, and that's kill number 6. That's kill number 7, and I whiff on kill number 8. Very unfortunate. I try and turn back around as quick as possible, but there is an HE-162 turning back in, or coming to strafe the airfield, and he gets the F-82 just before I can, so no 8 kills for me, but 7's good enough. And yeah. So we're now going to move on to the last match of the video. This is a 6 kill match, and I start off with a Spitfire below me. It is an LF Mark 9, and I'm going to be a bit aggressive here and kind of pitch up after him because there are teammates around me, and since we're also at high altitude, he's not going to be able to turn as well, so he's not going to be able to turn into me fully. As you can see, other people are attacking him, and right here my roll and my rudder don't really want to cooperate with each other, so my plane kind of ends up getting stuck in a position that I don't really want it to be in, and I whiff the shot. But I now can pitch in behind the Spitfire since he's dealing with other people and get a free shot. He goes down, and I'm now going to head towards the furball down at lower altitude. Just fast forwarding a bit, there was an I-225 that was basically AFK, nobody was home, so I take him out, and now I can go for the furball at lower altitude. So I start off above 4 enemies. My main priority is going to be the A6M5, as well as the A7. A6M5 is higher and is kind of closer to me, so I want to go for him first. He's not paying attention. I get a shot. He gets set on fire, and I now want to chase down the LA-7 and the J7W. Unfortunately, they do end up running away, and I'm not really going to be able to catch them in time because their base is close enough. This is just to kind of show that I was chasing them the entire time. Just fast forwarding it a bit. And unfortunately, they get too close before I can actually get to them. So I just climb away, and I'm now going to go for the A7M. Unfortunately, the A7M disappeared off my spotting system, so after a couple of minutes waiting around their airfield, the LA-7 takes off, and I now have him energy trapped. I pitch back down, and since he rolls directly under me, it is hard to get a shot. I just whiff, but I have all the energy in the world to keep going back up. At this altitude, I also want to be careful because LA-7s are very dangerous, but since I have this much speed exiting the fight, I'm going to be able to keep doing this energy trap a couple more times, as long as they don't make mistakes. Here he comes, pitching up to me. At this point, I can spiral up. He's still going to not have enough energy. As you can see, he stalls out there. I go back down again, and this time he is slower than last time, so I'm going to get a pretty easy shot, and he goes down. He also did not go directly under my plane, which made the shot even easier. This is just skipping forward a bit to the last 2 enemies. I want to pay attention to the J7W because he is higher. However, he turns back into his airfield, which signals to me that he's going to camp until I go for the A7M. So I'm going to quickly go for the A7M before he, yes, as you can see, he's going back to the airfield. So I'm going to go for the A7M instead. I have plenty of altitude, and the A7M2 is not going to be able to pitch up to me. As you can see, he's trying. It's actually an A7M1, excuse me. Same thing, right? But he stalls out. This gives me an easy shot. He goes down. And I'm now going to turn back towards the J7W. And I want to kind of full send it here because I'm very confident that I can beat that thing in a dogfight, as the J7 doesn't really turn that well. I want to go below him and then pull into him and then go up to force a dogfight. And I want to be able to catch him before he gets to his airfield, because I know he's going to run. Luckily, I'm going about the same speed as him, and he has to dodge. Just taking a couple pot shots, and I get a shot that he flies directly into. I take his wingtip off, and he goes into the ground, and that is 6. So that is going to be the end of the video. My next video will most likely be on the Airman Yak 3, but I also might make another community post and leave it up to a vote. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.